guys, I'm back. Ooh, it's hot today. Yeah, I wanted to get into this abduction experience that I had. And I'm also going to be getting into, after that, my past life experience again, because it also ties into this specific kind of abduction or whatever. Yeah, during this abduction, this was really interesting. So I know I was asleep, right? So I was sleeping, and the next thing I know, I'm woken up, and there's this guy over me, and to describe how this guy looked, he looked like this guy named Young Pharaoh on YouTube, and I later found out that YouTube name, or I don't know, I saw it on YouTube and I was like, oh, whoa, that looks just like the guy that was here during these abductions. Like, oh my god. So he ended up like being there. He was over me, and then I know I was asleep, and then he put something into my mouth, and the next thing I know, like, he told me to become a lion, and I thought, oh, okay, that's kind of like interesting or whatever. I don't know. Like, the next thing I know, these two men bust through the back door in the room. It was two guys, and one of them looked like John, and they had like black suits on or something, and I guess maybe they were trying to take me or abduct me or kidnap me or something. But the next thing I know, somehow I like magically kind of, I guess, turned into a lion, and then I remember scratching them and biting them, and then I remember being like levitated up into the ship, like, or whichever. When I got onto the ship, I believe I was put through this stimulation, and the stimulation was so real. So usually what they would do is do these simulations, like I said, they would have me lay down and put something over my head and then make this like virtual reality, but it feels so real. It's nothing like, it's so real. It's so crazy. So pretty much, next thing I know, it was me and the guy. I'm just going to call him Young Pharaoh because that's exactly who he looks like. So I'm just going to say, so we were both on this boat. It was this wooden boat, and it was like an old wooden boat, and it was so interesting. All these animals were on the boat, like lions, sheep, like just all kind of animals, all kinds. And I know we were sailing through this water. Then we got to shore, and I know it was like all this desert area. It looked like the desert area of my past life. So I remember we all got off of this boat real quick, all of us and the animals, and the next thing I know, we started running, and then the reptilians were coming towards us, and like even them like in human form, and they had all these weapons and machines. And I remember next thing I know, we're like running through the desert, and some parts were like grassy areas, and I remember running through, and then like I was like fighting or something. Like, it was interesting. Like, I could do all these kind of like martial arts moves that just were like crazy. Like, I could basically like stand onto the reptilian shoulders and start like kicking them in the head. Like, I could do all these like crazy like acrobatic kind of like capoeira type of moves. I was like, oh whoa, this is interesting. So I was like doing all that, and I had to like keep hitting them, and they just all kept like knocking down, like falling down and stuff. And I remember like during this like changing into different animals, like changing into a bear, a lion, or like different animals, and it was really interesting. And I know at the same time I felt like I was on a drug. I remember how I told you guys that I don't know whether they gave me scopolamine or something, some kind of a like, I don't know what those drugs are in that class, like DMT something. It seemed like maybe that's what was given to me. I don't know, but I did feel like I was on some kind of like a, I don't know, like some kind of drug or like hallucinogen. I don't know. I just know my heart felt racy, and I felt like, I know that I've heard that they do give like datura, that they would take that, like ancient tribes would take that like before wars or something. So I know it was something like that given to me. But yeah, so next thing I know, we were just going through and fighting through, and I know like me and this guy, we had to survive at the same time. So, pretty much like, I remember we were like just traveling through the desert. We had to keep fighting these reptilians, and I remember like we were together, and we like had to build shelters. Like at nighttime we had to build a shelter. We'd have to like get that all together. We'd have to get a fire together, and then I remember like we stayed in the shelter and stuff. And the next thing I know, like he woke me up and let me know, oh, okay, the reptilians are coming. Like we had to like leave at night. Like we had to get up. Like it was basically very like stressful. Like reptilians were after us like nonstop. And so we ended up just kept traveling, and then I know that we kept fighting them, and in the morning like it changed, like we were just constant fighting. And so I ended up losing focus, I guess, for a minute. Like basically the people coming towards me, some of the people were people that I had seen in life, like And next thing I know, I see John, and John is coming towards me, and John's like next to these other people, and they have like guns and like these weapons, and somehow for some minute, like I lost like focus or whatever, and the next thing I know, like a snake bit me, because there were also like snakes coming at us, like there were all these different things coming at us. There were like planes, machines, like all these different things, and basically like I ended up getting bit by the snake because I lost focus. And he had told me that what I had needed to do is I had needed to stay like constantly in the spirit, and that's how I was able to fight. And I guess that I lost touch or whatever. So he ended up helping me like with my foot, and he had to cut the foot, like the part that I got bit by the snake. He had to like drain the venom out and stuff. And then I remember like I was limping, and it was like hard to walk and stuff, but we somehow like managed to like get through and like just make it or whatever. And I remember it just being in the desert and being like, yeah, it was really, really hot. The next thing I know is it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And I noticed that the people that were running with us, there were also people running with us. Like I noticed like my mom and like my family and other people running with us. And yeah, like it was just like this big like Armageddon or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, everyone was running with us. And I noticed that a lot of the people that were running with us soon began to disintegrate. It was like the sun disintegrated them and they just vanished. Like it just vanished, and it was like, whoa. And I remember it being so hot, like I could feel like my organs were cooking, but I still was able to survive, I guess, somehow. Like I still was able to make it and like keep going. But yeah, a lot of people ended up vanishing and like disappearing. And then I remember after that, the next thing I know, there's a second sun. So the second sun started to come. That was starting to come, and then there was something that happened at night. Next thing you know, at night changed, the moon was getting really, really close to Earth, and it was really, really big. It was like, basically, I remember looking, and there was like this half moon, like a big half moon. It was just like so close to Earth. And I remember like me and young Pharaoh were running, and then he had told me, he said, don't look at the moon, like don't look at it or whatever. Because I remember like in my past life I would always go outside and stare at the moon or whatever, but he told me that I could not look at it at this time or something like that. Like I guess maybe, I don't know what it would do if you looked at it, but I guess it would do something, like something bad, or I don't know what happened. But yeah, it was really weird and really scary. So we kept running, and then we ran. Then we reached this mountain, and this mountain had a bunch of like rocky boulders, and we had to begin to climb up these boulders. We had to keep climbing and climbing and climbing to the top. And I remember it being like really hard. Like this was like the freaking journey of a lifetime. Like it was very physically demanding. And I remember also when we were running, I kind of ended up being slower than everybody else, and they had to kind of tell me, oh, okay, come on, like go faster, like, and stuff, because we had to all run. And yeah, so we ended up finally getting to the top of the mountain. I remember getting to the top of the mountain, and everybody was up there. And next thing I know, I ended up going into like a labor or something. My stomach started to hurt real bad. I fell to the ground, and then I know that there was this large guy on top of me, this large, like, I don't know if it was the dragon that I had seen in the other abductions, but I know he was really, really big. He was really tall. And then I remember like having this labor, and then like a baby was coming out or something. And then I don't know what happened. That was so interesting. Then after that, next thing I know, somehow like I was able to fly away from him or something like that. I was able to fly away, and then I think something happened where I couldn't fly as good or something like that. And so that was, I guess, basically like the end of that mission. So after the stimulation, I spoke to young Pharaoh, and he was in this Star Trek outfit. So on the ship, I guess that there's people that they wear the similar outfits to Star Trek. He had the same exact, like it was burgundy and black, and then it had the little, I think they have like a little piece of something or something like that. Yeah, it was that same exact outfit. So on this ship, I believe that maybe there was a sector that he was in, and the reptilians were in a different sector or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but he was in a sector. There were a couple patrol